Hey, what's going on, everybody? We're doing a pop-up show tonight to talk with Eric Hawkins about his awesome project, the Zombieful World of Oz. I met Eric last year in person at Heroes for Kids Comic Con, so we're really hoping that we can do a show together again this year where we're going to be seated next to each other. My kids can annoy him; he can keep them occupied for me. Last year they drew together; it was a lot of fun. They were super excited to meet a famous comic writer. So a couple announcements real quick. We've got our sponsors of the show. We've got Hazzum Productions with Rodney Fike and Tina. Check out Pitter Patter, Peanut Pudding and Jelly, and Roadkill Rampage. Roadkill Rampage number 3 will be hitting Kickstarter here before too long, and followed up by Pitter Patter 3. So looking forward to those two projects. We've also got Luis Torres with Codex Entertainment LLC. Please check out Whispers in Acropolis, Lily the Demoness, Ace and Starlet, Nebula Pearl, and VRXOXO, which will be debuting its final issue before too long. But first, we get Whispers in Acropolis number 4. So I'm super excited about that. We also got Naughty Fairs with Miss Wendy Steen Shaner, who had a great birthday the other day. So if you forgot to wish her happy birthday, go tell her happy birthday. And you can check out her fine projects and her books on Etsy. You can go get caught up on all those awesome books that you've been missing out on, and look forward to the Luna Tales anthology, which will be releasing soon. It's a bunch of great, cute stories for kids. And we've also got Doris Jones Labors of Love. Please check out her website. She has all kinds of paintings and stuff, as well as some stuff up on the charity book that is live on Kickstarter now. So you guys can check all that lovely stuff out. We've also got Outpost 426 Studios with C.V. Zane and Michael Shoemaker. Please check out Scorpiana, Into the Suck, and Black Rabbit, which just did awesome on Kickstarter a month ago. Broke some records. It was really cool, and super excited about that. So without further ado, we're going to bring our guest out tonight, Mr. Eric Hawkins. What's going on, sir?
Hey, not much. How you doing tonight?
Oh, just hanging out here, ready to talk shop. Let's talk about some comics, some Zambies. I don't know where that came from. I had a friend that loved to say Zambies instead of zombies just because it made everybody mad. And my wife absolutely hates it. So
I kind of like that.
It became literary term around here. Anytime there was anything to do with zombies, it became Zambies. And so the kids caught onto it too, so we all annoy her with it. Like, oh man, there's some Zambies. She's like, stop it.
It's kind of like wrestling and wrestling.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So I'm excited to have you on here tonight. Talk about some of your inspirations. I know we hung out, like I said, at Heroes for Kids Comic Con. We had a great time there. The kids were so excited to draw with you, and we're going to be doing the show again this year, which it's an awesome con. I want to shout out about it real quick. If anybody lives close to Perryville, Missouri, please think about either being a vendor or a guest to Heroes for Kids Comic Con. All of the proceeds that are made from the auctions they have there, as well as the tickets and the vendors and everything, goes towards helping all kinds of different charities. I think this year it's going towards St. Jude's and a counseling center, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. And so mid-July, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
It,
so guys, definitely check it out. Look up Heroes for Kids Comic Con. You can come visit us fine folks there. But without further ado, we're going to talk about you a little bit. So I always kind of like to start off with what got you into comic books? Where did it all begin?
Oh, well, the first comic book I can remember getting was G.I. Joe number 11. And at the time, I was buying the little G.I. Joe figures, of course. They had just come out. And we were on vacation somewhere because we had stopped. It was long before you had the big O truck stops. Chain truck stops. You had truck stops. You didn't have the big chain truck stops.
Yeah, you didn't have Loves and you didn't have Road Ranger and all that noise.
Yeah.
It
So
was just
I'm
like
pretty
some random hole in the wall.
Yeah. So I think the one we stopped at, if I remember correctly, because we always stopped there to get breakfast on our way down to Tennessee, was in Mount Vernon. I think there was a big 76 station.
Yep.
And we'd pull in there. And I think they had a comic rack. I think that's where we bought it. And after that, man, I wanted to find out where to buy comics. So I'd ride my little bicycle up to the local drugstore we had in town. I lived in Cokia, Illinois at the time. We had Wild Goose. And they had a little spinner rack, man. I'd be picking books off the rack, 50 cents. It wasn't much back then. But, that's what got me hooked. Then I came across the X-Men, and then my world expanded, and I started buying all kinds of comic books. I found out about comic shops and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, and there really isn't a whole lot around here anymore either, which kind of sucks because you live locally to me. You live like probably about an hour from me, I guess. Hey,
Yeah.
what's up, Grant?
Hey, Grant.
You live in Wood River, and it was
Yep.
really funny when we talked at Heroes for Kids Comic Con. You're like, well, I live, I don't. Do you know where Alton is? I'm like, yeah. He's like, oh, I live in a little town, Wood River. I was like, I know Wood River. I go there all the time. I deliver to him, because it is a really small town. You can literally breathe and drive through it,
Oh yeah.
and and so we don't really have a lot of comic shops locally. I know St. Louis. I think there's one in Fairview Heights, and there's like maybe 3 in St. Louis that have a decent selection. A lot of them are just, hey, we have a bunch of the new stuff. And I walk in there and there's like one Silver Age book in a glass case. It's like coveted. Don't anybody buy it. It's the only Silver Age.
Yeah, I think the shop I go to on a regular basis is in Edwardsville.
In Eversville, okay.
Heroic Adventures. They don't really have back issues or stuff like that. It's all new stuff and gaming stuff and pops and stuff. The shop I used to go to years ago was Comic Headquarters down on Telegraph in South County.
Yeah.
But Steve, the owner, he died in his late 40s of a heart attack, and that shop I haven't gone back since then. Yeah. I mean, but he had stuff. He had cases full of old comics, boxes of back issues. But yeah, most shops now they just have current stuff.
Yeah, and it's a shame too because like I spend most of my time buying online because that's the only way you can get some of the stuff you're looking for. Because you walk in, it's like the Dynamite spinner rack and all the stuff that just came out. You're like, oh man, there is one that's really cool off of like 370 in St. Charles.
STL Comics.
No, it's not STL Comics. I can't think of the name of it, but there's
STL
a cool one there.
Comics is a good shop. I haven't been to his new shop since he moved out to St. Charles. He was off the Rock Road in Antique Mall. He has got tons of comics.
Oh, so he moved. So I went to the one in the mall at St. Charles Rock Road.
Yeah,
he had. Oh man, I didn't know that. I'm gonna have to go check that out because I went last year because John and Mary came down for Roderick's birthday and we went to there.
And if you're looking to sell collections, he buys collections. I sold an 11,000 comic collection to him.
Holy cow, 11,000. So wait a minute. You really ransacked these 50-cent spinner racks. 11,000 books.
Well, no, I actually still have mine. My brother, my brother passed back in October, but he had a huge collection. He lived with us. So he had 11,000 comic books. He kept them all logged down in a spreadsheet. I knew exactly what he had. I sent it over to the owner over there. He goes, yeah, I'll come by and take a look at them. 2 carloads later, he was done picking them up.
That's a lot of comics, 11,000 books. That's a heck of a collection. So what got you into art? So you got a comic at a truck stop. It got you into comics. So what made you want to start drawing? Or was it something that you were already into?
Drawing, I was already into. I did a lot of drawing when I was a kid. I get my first things I remember drawing is little scenes when I was in 2nd grade on my notebook paper of little stickmen armies fighting each other in a mountain. I draw little caves in the mountain. I don't know how I did it. I'd erase them when they killed each other and stuff. And that's what I was doing instead of schoolwork. but then I got to high school and I started doing a little more drawing. I was much more into comic books by then. I was buying a lot more of them. I mean, we had a convenience store, a Huck's store right across the street from the high school, and we could go over there at lunch and stuff. I'd go over there and grab a comic book or two. And I started drawing stuff in art class. And then after that, I just kept drawing and drawing and drawing. Met Jim Lee. He said my stuff was really good. Just work on the sequentials, which I started doing. And then, I sent some stuff into Marvel, got rejected. So I didn't draw for about 10 years after that. Then I got back into it when I saw the indie comic explosion happening and people being able to fund stuff on Kickstarter. Because back then, when you think about doing your own comic, I mean, it was expensive because you didn't have, print on demand places. You had to go find a real printer and they'd charge you $1,000 for, like 5 books or something. It just wasn't worth it. But now you can get on Kickstarter, Indiegogo, crowdfund your projects. Send them off to multiple printers all over the country. The one I use is up in Michigan right now, Comics Wellspring. They do a great job and good prices. I mean, they're not going to charge you an arm and a leg to have something printed.
Yeah, and that's what's awesome about the indie boom. We've got all these places that are willing to print at affordable prices. Because, like you said, back then you'd have to submit to different publishers and be like, "What do you think?" And they're like, "Ah, this sucks," or "Well, this is okay, but you need to work on this." And it's like multiple rejection letters, and you didn't have an opportunity to be like, "Hey, everybody, look at my book. See what you think about it. If you like the idea, support it." So, when did you come up with the idea for Zombies and Oz? Was this
That was probably, when was it? Was it 2022 now? It had to be 2015. 2015 is when I started thinking about it. Or it might have been before that. It might have been, no, it was 2015. I was working on a book with Brian K. Morris. We were doing I hadn't even met him yet. I'd met him through Brian K. Morris.
Who?
You can't miss him if you see him at a show.
Yeah, no, you can't. He's a great guy. I hope he goes back and watches this and he's like, that Russell Allen guy, I'm going to get him.
I had met him through Sean Delaney, who I'd met on digital webbing, where you could go out and you could look for artists, writers could look for artists, artists could look for writers, people to collaborate. It's still out there, but there's not many people using it anymore. So, but Sean Delaney was looking for an artist for a book. It was only like 10 pages for a Superman celebration they have every year down in Metropolis, Illinois. And he was doing a fundraising book that would help restore the theater down there. So, I sent him some samples. He liked it. He hooked me up with Brian. He was writing a little 10-page story, and me and Brian emailed back and forth a little bit. Then after I finished the book, and I saw he was going to be at the Toyman show in over on the Rock Road in St. Louis. So I went over, introduced myself. Right away, he gives me a big hug. Oh, it's nice to finally meet you. Yeah, I love your stuff. And we worked on some stuff after that too, a couple books after that. And while he was doing that, I sent him some of my pages. I said, "Hey, what do you think?" And he's like, "Oh, I like that." And eventually, when I got the story done, I sent it to him to edit. And he liked it. So that's when it started. And it was a slow roll getting that first book out, because I had to work up all the story, work on future stories if this took off. So I was connecting them all, or it could just end right there at the end of the first issue. And luckily that funded. Second issue funded, third issue funded, fourth issue's funded. We're just going to keep rolling.
And Lissy says, I remember you drawing someone who looked like Dorothy when I still lived at home.
That's my daughter. Yes, she did.
Yep. So what inspired you to write the Zombieful World of Oz? Where did you draw your inspirations from? Like, what made you want to not only work with the World of Oz? Because, I mean, I guess my question is, a lot of people attempt to do Oz stuff. Was it really, I can't think of the word. Oh, man. I quit. That's
well,
it.
I can answer the question regardless.
So, was it intimidating trying to think of a way to work with the Oz story? That was the word I was looking for. Was it intimidating?
I knew Wizard of Oz was in public domain, or at least the books are. Anything to do with the movie is off limits. So, like the movie has ruby slippers, the books have silver shoes. So ruby slippers are out of it. I didn't know that at first. So I had to do a lot of research and all that, because originally my Dorothy was going to have red boots. I was like, nope, that's got to go. That's got to go. But the inspiration came from, I guess, I thought when I saw The Walking Dead come out in comic book, I was like, oh, geez, this zombie stuff's never going to end. It just keeps coming and coming. And I was like, wow, then the show seemed really, and I fell in love with the show. I was like, huh. Yeah, maybe I should do some kind of zombie book. What would be different? Then at first it was going to be like a freak show with zombies, old time circus freak show. That's where I was inspired by, was that, and I'd seen a music video for We Write Sins Not Tragedy, and in that video there's a lot of old timey looking circus people in it. And I like some of the gestures they're making. I was like, that's really cool. And they work on that. And as I kept drawing the characters, they got top hats and stuff. And I was like, oh, let me put some goggles. And it turned into steampunk. And then I was like, let me throw the Oz characters in here and see how that works. So, I started drawing Dorothy and Scarecrow and the Lion, and then the Tin Man, which everybody loves how he turned out. And that's just how it came about. It started with me not liking zombies.
That's like a quantum conundrum. It's like I was like, when is this ever going to end? Let's write a zombie book.
And what helped was Zombies and the Wizard of Oz both have a dedicated fan base. People like that stuff, so it was easier for me to offer it to people than something original that I had done, someone they had never heard of.
Now, is this the first story that you wrote, or have you have several others that you've wrote that you kind of put on the back burner because you're just like, this?
I have a lot of outlines. A lot of outlines. In fact, one book, which where did I put? I might have the ad for it here in this. I was going to do a book last summer. I decided not to, and it is not in here. Must be in one of the different copies. I was going to do like a Moon Knight-like character called Emerald Scarab. You know, he's blessed with powers by an Egyptian god, but he is not, you know, a ex-military dude. He's a teacher that goes over there to Egypt with his fiancée, and she gets kidnapped. He gets left for dead, and this god revives him, and he has to go save his fiancée. That one, there's a Code of Silence, which is about an ex-military spook and his son being hurt in gang violence. That'd be set in St. Louis. And there's tons of them in my head and partially laid out. Yeah.
So you had all these, you know, outlined and laid out, but you're like, I'm just gonna go with the zombie one because this is awesome. I mean, it's a lot of fun. It really is a lot of fun. The art's great. I really love the art, and the kids have flipped through it and they think it's really cool as well. So, man, what a missed opportunity! This year, Moon Knight is blowing up everywhere.
That's why because I was going to launch it last year. Then you know I got COVID and the whole family got COVID. We got sick, and my new issue was going to launch in February, but everything got pushed back some months, and I just never finished the story up. So I was like, well, I'll just wait. And then I'm like, now everybody's thinking I'm just going to rip off Moon Knight more than I already was because it's popular.
Yeah. That's the way it goes, though. I mean, now you got that show, or not that show. You get that book set up. You know, the show's out now, and everybody's real big on it. And once it dies down, you know, you've got something tangible that you can put up out there and be like, hey, you know, here's this book. Instead of, you know, people being thinking, oh yeah, like you said, you know, you ripped off Moon Knight.
Yeah. I mean, it was already going to be a Moon Knight ripoff, but because
here's the thing.
I designed the character on a drawing show I do every Thursday night with a bunch of other people. We all get together and we have a subject. And one night was draw like Marvel 2099 characters that you redesign them or do ones they never did. So I did Moon Knight. And then their guys, oh, that'd be a cool character on its own. You should, you know, make it your own. Like, that's a good idea. So I made him green.
And what's the name of that show?
Drawn and Quartered Ultimate Edition.
Drawn and Quartered Ultimate Edition.
It doesn't come on to 9 p.m. Central, and it runs to midnight. It's a late show. Yeah, it's not for everybody. Humor might be a little out there for some people. A little dark, but we have fun time drawing.
Yeah, that's what it's all about: drawing and chatting, and sometimes things get out of hand, and that's what's fun about it.
Oh yeah.
So what is your go-to story in comics? Like you're like, I really want to read something good. What is your go-to story that you just can't get enough of? Like your go-to book?
It's going to be two. It's going to be Kraven's Last Hunt, which is in the Spider-Man books, which came out in the 80s, 86, I think. And Born Again Daredevil by Frank Miller, that series. Yeah. Those two, I read through them constantly. And The Crow. The Crow will fall in there about third.
Yeah, The Crow's a great book. I got the collected edition of it. So my neighbor he bought it. And so it's really funny. He didn't know I was into comic books. So I derail here for a second. So like he didn't know I was into comic books. And like one day he came across my book and he was like, oh, I didn't know you were into this stuff. So like a couple of days later, I see him out there. He's like, here, this is for you. I'm like, he hands me the Crow collected edition. And I'm like, are you sure you don't want this? And he's like, oh no, he's like, it's a funny story. I bought one. I started reading it and I put it down somewhere and I couldn't find it. And I thought I lost it. So I ordered another one. And the day it showed up, I found the other one. I was like, oh man, that's the worst. You know, nothing's worse than buying a book and then like, I don't know what I did with this. And then you buy another one and you find it. So he handed that to me and I'd never read it before. You know, I didn't even know, you know, when The Crow came out, I was, man, I don't even know how old I was when the first Crow came out. And I absolutely loved the movie, and I had no idea it was inspired by a comic book. And when he handed me that, I was like, it was based on a comic book. So I started doing research on it, and it's like, it's crazy. You know, it's a really good story. The sequels weren't that great, but the original movie was great. Other than
the original movie was great. Sadly, you know, Brandon Lee's final performance, but
what a terrible tragedy that is. Yeah. But no, it's a great story, and so yeah, I have to agree with The Crow. Absolutely, hands down. So what are your go-to shows? What kind of movies do you like? And you know, what was your favorite cartoon growing up?
Oh, favorite cartoon growing up was a toss-up between Johnny Quest and Speed Racer. Then you know, that was the 70s. When you get to the 80s, it's going to be Transformers and G.I. Joe. Yep. The 90s, I guess it'd have to be a Batman the Animated Series or Gargoyles. Absolutely. Yeah,
Gargoyles.
Yeah, then after that, I kind of lost track. But movie-wise, it's a wide open spectrum. I like everything. Chick flicks, comic book movies, action movies, mysteries, horror. It's just about everything.
So what's your go-to movie? What's your favorite movie to watch that you've watched 1,000 times?
Oh, if I watch 1,000 times, it would have to be Tombstone. Anytime that comes on, I don't care if it's in the middle of it. If I see it on flipping channels, I stop and watch it.
Absolutely. I remember one time, where was that? Oh, it was at Six Flags. We went to Six Flags, and they got like a little movie theater thing that you can walk in and you can go watch movies in. And it was the same thing for me. We walked in there, and I was with a group of friends, and Tombstone was on, and it was like probably like 30 minutes in the movie. So I ended up staying there and watching it by myself because everybody else was like, "This is boring. We don't like Western movies. We're gonna go ride the rides." So yeah, I hung out there. But yeah, no, Tombstone's a great movie.
Yeah, I've always loved that one. And, you know, I like the Wyatt Earp one with Kevin Costner as well. But Tombstone's my favorite one. Yeah.
So, how many issues do you have as far as this arc goes right now? So we're on issue 4, Zombieful World of Oz. That's what's up on Kickstarter now.
Yeah.
How far do you plan on taking this arc?
As far as I can. So issue 1 and 3, they conclude the first story arc. Tells the story of Dorothy returning to Oz. Issue 4 it's kind of a standalone issue, but it does kick off the next story arc. And it's about the Tin Man getting his original heart back. Because if anyone's seen my comics, they see the drawings. He has a real heart inside his chest. He's kind of got like a porthole. He's got a porthole in the side of it, in the middle of his chest, which there's a heart in it. So, yeah. So, there's a tale in the books, the actual books by Baum, how he became the Tin Man. So I am almost all the stories and everything. I'm trying to expand on the lore and what's in the original books. So I'm expanding on that. He never got his original heart back in the books, but my Tin Man did go get his original heart back. And this tells how he got his original heart back. Then it kicks off into 3 other issues. That'll conclude the second story arc completely. And then I don't know how many I can get out of it, because I still got to draw some zombie munchkins. I haven't even drawn those yet. The Gnome King's got to show up. I mean, there's a bunch of people got to show up in here.
Man, zombie munchkins. So, like, instead of candy, like, are they going to be carrying around body parts?
Yeah. On sticks, little like drumsticks. Yeah.
It's an eye pop instead of a lollipop. It's an eye pop. You got a tongue pop. Oh, and then you got the really big munchkin. He's got the leg pop.
Yeah, like the turkey legs you get at Six Flags.
Oh my God! Yeah, we won't talk. So speaking of the turkey leg, so I took my wife. We went on the Boss, and she was like, "I don't really want to go in there. I just ate a turkey leg." And she gets on the Boss and like just lets loose, and it just splatters all over this group of little kids. And so I had to go to the bathroom, and I go into the bathroom, and all those little kids come in, and they're like, "Ooh, she threw up all over me." And he's like, one kid goes, "Ooh, there's chunks in it," and I was trying so hard not to laugh because not only was it hilarious because it made her sick. I don't know why it was funny, but it just was. It was poor kid. Like, it wouldn't have been funny if it would have been me, but I died laughing. I was in there trying to not to
Of
snicker,
course,
and
yeah.
they're washing my hands. I'm like, yeah, she really let that turkey leg fly. So yeah, now she avoids the turkey leg when we go to Six Flags for sure.
I would too, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So what are some of your hobbies that you like to do outside of drawing and writing comics? What are some of the things you like to do on the side?
Wow, yeah. I do like to golf. I like to fish. I don't do those that often anymore. But I'd have to say what I've really got hooked on this year is
3D printing.
3D printing and painting stuff.
That is awesome.
I never played Dungeons and Dragons in my life. I got a 3D printer late last year, and I have printed dozens and dozens of D&D miniatures and painted them up because you can find a ton of that stuff for free.
Yeah,
of course. I've got some Moon Knight ones. They're always hard. They're so white they get washed out. But I found some Moon Knight stuff to print, and my favorite one, I actually designed this one in Blender and printed it. And it's my Tin Man.
that's very cool.
Yeah, but that's probably one of my most recent hobbies. But drawing has always been a hobby. Collecting pops, collecting comics. Yeah. Toys.
So what's your favorite place to fish?
It used to be Shaw's Lake in Columbia, Illinois, before they closed it and turned it into a subdivision. We would go there after work and catfish all night long. Catch monster cats, clean them, come home.
Fry 'em up.
Yeah. Then my grandmother had a place that had a lake for a while. I loved to fish down there. And lately, I just haven't fished anywhere. Well, I take that back. A couple of years ago, we did go up in Michigan and fish. We rented a house up there. My son had a new child, his first child at the time. We rented a house on a lake, spent some time with him, and I took one of the granddaughters out there fishing. She wasn't scared of putting a hook through a worm at all.
That's great. So you never did any trout fishing or anything like that?
Like real trout fishing, or like at a trout pond or trout farm?
Oh no, I mean like a trout park. Because like out here in Missouri, we've got Montauk, we've got Merrimack Springs, we got Blue Springs.
I have some. I forget where we were when I was a kid. We were in Tennessee somewhere, and they had like a little trout farm. I mean, it's like troughs of trout, and you just pick them
You
out.
just dip your line and they eat it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's crazy because like here, like all of our state parks are free except for like the trout parks. You got to buy like a day pass. It's like $4, or you can buy a weekend pass for like $7. And like I think the limit's 5 or 6 a day. And so like it's crazy here in the different state to state stuff. And that was the reason why I asked. I was just curious about Illinois because my buddy Mike and Jim and their dad, they go trout fishing up there, and he caught this monster trout, and it cost him like $37. And I was like, "What?" He's like, "Oh yeah, they charge by the pound. Don't they do that there?" And I'm like, "No, dude, you could catch 100-pound trout, and you can keep it as long as you've only got 5." I was like, "What kind of monstrous thing is that?" I'm like, "It's a freaking trout park where they breed and hatch trout, and they're charging." I'm like, "Man, that's what I need to do here is open up a trout park." Like, man, they make some serious bank. $37 for one fish. I'm like, I hope it was good.
I knew they had a place for trout stamps on the back of your fishing license, but I've never gone trout fishing other than basically in a pond. Little grassy down there, down southern Illinois. I'd go down there and bass fish with my uncle quite a bit. Bass fishing, catfishing is usually what I would do. Yeah.
Bass fishing and catfishing is my jam too. My wife loves to go trout
fishing. Oh, catfishing's so easy.
It is.
Sit back.
And they love bacon. That is the best bait ever. Raw bacon.
I haven't tried bacon. I've tried just about anything you can think of but bacon. But I don't know if I can give up my bacon.
Well, see, you just go buy like the really cheap stuff like Hunter or whatever. It's like or like that store brand that's brand that's like $1.49 for a pack, and you're like, is this real bacon? And you tear off like a 3-inch strip, and you hook it through, and then you just keep continually hooking it through the hook so it goes all the way
Oh.
through, but you wrap it so it doesn't fly off when you cast it. We used to catfish down at Big River and Cedar Hill, or well, yeah, Cedar Hill, all the time. Sometimes in House Springs, there's a little part of it that
Mhm.
branches off into House Springs. But man, I tell you what, you cast that bacon in there, and it's like 2 or 3 minutes off the bank, and you've got like catfish fighting it out over it. I'm like, I don't know what it is about bacon. And my wife thought I was crazy. I'm like, you've never fished with bacon before? I'm like,
Mm-mm.
man, I thought this was like a St. Louis thing. I'm like, I guess not. I guess it's a me thing, and I'm just crazy.
Wow. And we've used cat food, like canned cat food.
Oh, cat food? Oh yeah, dude, they
Oh,
go
we were
nuts.
in Shaw's Lake, me and a couple buddies, and we're out there almost most of the night, and we had poked holes in the can, threw it out there on some strings, and that night we barely caught. We caught a few fish, but the current kind of went that way, and towards the end where the lake bended, there was a guy down there fishing. Well, that's where all the scent of everything was going. He pulled in a catfish. Took him at least an hour to get it in. This thing had to be 4 feet long.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, it was this big around. We're like, well, that should have been one of us.
Yeah, you guys helped him out. He's like, I caught a whale of a catfish, and your
He
guys
took
are
our
upstream.
$3 in cat food and turned it into a giant catfish.
Yeah, good thing he wasn't charged by the pound for that bad boy.
Yeah, well, that sounds like something Illinois would do too.
Yeah, no joke. Well, we thought about checking out. There's a what is it called? Heartland Lodge, I think is what it's called. You go out there, they got like hunting tours and stuff like that, and they got like a lodge, and they got these little cabins and motels and stuff that you can stay in out there. But it's an ATV off-road park, and so I was like, oh, that's really cool. We can go up there and stay in this lodge because we don't have a camper, and we could go riding up there. Well, then looking further into it, it's like they have some land, but the other part of it's Illinois land, so you got to get an Illinois tag to be able to ride on that part of the land. And then we looked at the prices of the lodge, and it's like $300 a day, and that includes like riding and everything else. And I'm like, for $900, we're gonna like go out of state to some park. I won't we'll stay in like some little shack out on the freaking riding grounds or something. $900 for a weekend. And then I was like, holy shit, it doesn't even include the kids. It's like an extra $100 for the kids. I'm like, yep, nope, never happened.
Oh, wow.
And so I looked at it. Well, then my wife's like, hon, I've seen this thing. They got this honeymooners package and stuff. And I'm like, oh, really? And she's like, yeah, they got this off-road park. I'm like, well, what's it called? She's like, Heartland Land or Heartland Lodge or whatever it's called. And I was like, nope, not happening. It's probably like $1,400. And she looked, it's like $1,700 on the radio. So I was like, yeah, we're never checking this place out. But yeah, Illinois, we won't even talk about it. We won't talk about it. You live in the good part. Your side of Illinois is okay. You guys don't have potholes that swallow cars. It's like the other end, like Columbia, and then up 55, you get up to like Peoria and Bloomington and Urbana, and it's like I used to drive up there and deliver when I worked for the RTI, Restaurant Technologies, and like these potholes would swallow my truck. I'm like, man, if somebody owned a smart car or a Prius, it would just disappear. and their way of fixing roads there, people. Listen to this. This is hilarious. They will put a sign up that says "rough road ahead." They won't even fix it, will they? They put a sign up pothole, and you're like, what? You guys took the time to make the sign, put concrete on the pole, and put it in the ground. But you can put the concrete on the road. It's the funniest thing I've ever seen.
There's a section of bridge I cross to go into Missouri when I go into work, and the guard railing has been missing for the last 7 years because, there's an accident and the guard railing got ripped off. They just never replaced it.
They're like, yeah, whatever.
There's like this, 500 feet of bridge with no guardrail over the river.
You kids better listen right now. You see that hole in the guardrail up there? I will drive this car off that guardrail. Welcome to St. Louis. So you work over here in Missouri then?
Yeah. I only have to go in the office on Fridays right now. Ever since everything hit, we started working from home. So I work over at Creve Corps, over for an appliance parts distributor. I work in the corporate offices and do accounting, receivables.
Well, that's cool. So that's great that you get to work from home, so you can do your work and kind of, you're not like in an office somewhere scrambling for notes to take notes for your book. You know, you have this great idea. You're just like, oh yeah, that's a great idea. I'm gonna put this on hold for now. Your parts can wait, sir. No, I'm just kidding. I got this really great idea. I've got to
Hey,
get it down on paper.
when we first started, I'd do that on lunch, especially when I was in the office. I'd go out on lunch and just scribble and draw and stuff. When we first came home, I was worried about, being, my work computer and my drawing computer right next to each other. And I'd be tempted to draw. So I had to separate them. So, so I'm not tempted to scoot over.
Yeah, you're going to go over here for right now. I got some work to do. So you like to play video games or anything like that? You got any games that you like to play?
I used to be really addicted to Minecraft and Call of Duty, in which I still play Call of Duty to this day. So I played Call of Duty for a long time. But, back in the day, it was mostly sports games, Madden, FIFA, stuff like that.
Man, of all things, you have to play Call of Duty that has the freaking zombie campaign in it. I mean, listen, you're like, this story gets better and better. Like, I mean, when zombies gonna end? And then my dude, you play the only game on earth that has a zombie campaign with every game when it comes out.
Yes, yeah, it's cool.
The Walking Dead got you addicted, didn't it? It just like
it did, and
the bug bit you.
I haven't watched most of the last season of that yet. I'm still a little behind in that. I gotta get caught up. And a friend of mine at work got me watching a couple Korean zombie shows. Those were really good on Netflix. I was like, wow.
Really?
I mean, the acting's bad and the voice acting's bad, but once you get past that, it's really good.
Hey, man, there's nothing wrong with bad acting. It's what makes it fun. It gives you a good laugh, and then, you start getting, really laid back, and then like a scary scene just comes and scares the crap out of you. Yeah, I love those. Those are personally my favorite. When there's like those dead spots in those scary movies, because it really builds the tension. And then my wife gets like really tense over there, and I wait for it to build up. And then she thinks something's getting ready to happen, and I'm just like, boom! And then she jumps like 6 feet in the air. She's like, I hate you. Terrible about that. So you like horror movies. So like, what's your favorite horror movie?
Oh, I have to go back to like Christine, stuff in the 80s that was coming out. Definitely Christine, Nightmare Before Elm Street, Friday the 13th, all that stuff. Yeah, Halloween, all the what's classics now, but yeah.
Yeah, Evil Dead, Army of Darkness.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that's my favorite. And I always love Army of Darkness, and I always was really on the edge about whether or not I wanted to watch Ash versus the Evil Dead. But I love Bruce Campbell so much that I didn't realize it was on Netflix, and I was like, we've got to watch it. So my wife has never seen Evil Dead. I've never seen the new one. I just couldn't bring myself to watch the new one, the remake of it. But she's never seen Evil Dead or Evil Dead 2 or Army of Darkness. So I'm like, Ash versus Evil Dead. It's on Netflix. I'm like, yes, we've got to watch this. I'm like, we have at least watched the first episode. And I don't know whether my wife was scared out of her mind or disgusted or was like, WTF, because like, how cheesy the acting is. I mean, Bruce Campbell, he is the king of B-list actors. And and it's so over the top gory. It's hilarious, Oh man, Army of Darkness is just so full of one-liners. But like, it's like when he shoots one of the undead, and their head explodes, and it's just like a fountain of like 600 gallons of blood, which is like totally impossible. And she's just like, "There's something wrong with you. You're a sick, twisted individual." I'm like, I grew up with this stuff. I didn't grow up, in the country and all the stuff like you were. I grew up with like horror films, Star Wars, Star Trek, wrestling, the good stuff, the original Hulk series, and, RoboCop. I was into like machines and mechs and stuff like that. Like one of my favorite movies is Robot Jox. Like I rented it so many times that the movie rental store gave it to my dad, and they're like, look, this is never here anyway, so you've paid for it like 60 times. You might as well just take it. Because every time he would take me to the store, he'd be like, what do you want to rent? Really? You just rented that last week? So like I have it on DVD now. Unfortunately, I missed the Blu-ray. Hint, hint. So anybody out there, finds it on Blu-ray somewhere, please buy it for me and I will pay you back. I really want it. But you can't find it anywhere. It's not on eBay. I had no idea it even released on Blu-ray. So that
Oh,
was
wow.
a sad moment in my life.
Hmm.
Because like this is such like a terrible movie now to watch. It's just hilarious, but I still love it. You know, it's one of those things. It's your childhood. You know, like in
Oh, yeah.
Humanoids. You know, in Humanoids, I'll never forget going to my grandma's house. She had the tape for Humanoids. I had never heard of it outside of that. And then like now I'm like in Humanoids on eBay, and it's like, oh, here's Decomposed. $3,000. I'm like, holy crap! I wish I would have known more about this. And, you know, Grandma, buy this stuff for me for Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be in the money right now.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the funny thing too. As kids, we didn't care. You know, we had GI
Oh, no.
Joes. We blew them up. You know, we ripped their arms and legs off as they were fighting. You know, ninjas and whatever else we had at our disposal. And, and now we're like, all those body parts in my parents' yard is worth hundreds of dollars.
Yeah, if I never have opened them and wouldn't have blown them up with firecrackers or burned them with gas or, you know, I even would take hairspray and a lighter to some of them. Oh no, it's a blowtorch. Look out. The guy all melted. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The worst one was probably my Millennium Falcon from '79. I put smoke bombs in it.
Those things get hot, so I bet it just melted it into a pile.
No, but it did discolor the plastic because there were the different colored ones, and it just ruined it.
Hey man, that's vintage. That one was used in the movie. It's got blaster marks on it. It's worth millions.
I wish.
I wish.
Ironically,
Yeah, right.
probably the most expensive action figure I have, currently, would be a Mandalorian figure.
Really?
Yeah, there was a like first day release of the Mandalorian figure, and it came in a white package instead of the regular Black Series packaging. So he's worth like a couple $100 right now.
So you're big into collecting toys too. You said, what are some of your favorite collectibles that you have besides the Mandalorian?
Well, if you can see these are all the new GI Joes here. These are all the Cobras, the 6-inch scale. I've been waiting for the 6-inch scale forever. So those are all GI Joes. Marvel Cinematic Universe, Marvel, Star Wars, GI Joes, Mandalorian, stuff like that. Yeah, it's turned into the 6-inch action figure instead of the little 3 3/4 because I'm bigger now. I need bigger toys.
Yeah, exactly. And now they're for display, not for blowing up or burning with gas or air spray cans.
I almost ruined one about 3 years ago. So I draw on a tablet. And I couldn't afford a Wacom tablet because they're like $1,500 to $2,500. Yeah, but I saw this Huion tablet, which is basically a Chinese knockoff, and everybody's praising them. They do great, and this one's 22 inches, and it was only like $400 or $500. So at the time, Dale Keown had a comic book out years ago called Pit, which he did the Hulk before he went to Image and did Pit. Well, back in the early 2000s, they came out with 6-inch characters of Image characters, and they had to build a figure, which built you a Pit figure, which is about this big, because one character had an arm, another one had a leg and head. And I was looking at my Marvel stuff. I'm like, I don't have a Hulk. You know, I got that Pit figure around here somewhere. He looks like the Hulk. I should just spray paint him green or something and make a head for him. So I found him. I was looking. I was like, yeah, but if he's worth anything. I got on eBay. I sold him for $300.
He's gone.
Next thing I knew, I sold some of my old Stormtroopers, which were from not the original movies, but the prequels. Because me and my brother had a clone war, see who could get the most of them. So I had like 200 of them. So I'd sell them in packs of 10 or so. Before I knew it, I had more than enough money to buy my tablet, and that's why I sold toys to buy my tablet.
So you got the Wacom anyway.
Oh no, I didn't get the Wacom.
Oh, so that's how you got the Hui.
Yeah.
That's great, man. You get on eBay, you're like, I have 200 Stormtroopers available for purchase in packs of 10 because I have so many. That's insane. You get the most Stormtroopers. You get to, like, what do you do with 200 of them? What in the world did you do with all of them?
Well, luckily they were the 3 3/4 figures. So
okay.
They were small. So if you had a cabinet, you could line them up in like little battalions on different shelves.
That's awesome.
But they were a bear to dust.
Oh, I bet. That was insane. 200 figurines. But that would be an awesome battle though, you know, except for they can't hit the broadside of a barn. So, I mean,
No,
there'd
no,
be it'd be 200 versus 200 all day long, folks. Speaking of that, I about died in The Mandalorian when they were trying to shoot that can on the
oh my god!
ground. They're like 3 feet away from it and they can't hit it. I was like, this is the best joke out of the entire show right here. The stormtroopers can't hit anything.
So
For
let's just
one.
punch the baby Yoda.
Yeah, punch the baby. Oh man, so you were pretty big into the Star Wars universe and stuff like that growing up.
Definitely, it is the very first movie I can remember seeing in theaters.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was.
So what was it
me.
like?
It was cool, but I was still young. So it came out in 77, so I was about 6. But I remember my mom and dad going, my brother, who was 2, my uncle and his girlfriend, my grandparents going. I mean, it was like, it's the only time I remember all of us going to the movie together to see a movie. But I remember us going to see it. It was really cool.
That's got to be awesome. You know, now it's like, you know, our children grow up with all this technology that they know more about than we do, or they think they do sometimes.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's like, it's nothing for them. But like back in the day when we would have stuff like Star Wars that came out, or, you know, like, you know, the movie Avatar when it came out with the 3D and stuff. I think that's been like the most recent big thing to come out that we didn't have growing up that was new to and fresh to everybody. We had 3D stuff, but it was the stupid red and blue glasses. It really didn't do anything.
I remember seeing, I think it was called Parasite. Came out in the mid 80s and it was in 3D. And it was the first time I got to see a 3D movie in a theater. It was horrible. But yeah, you had the red and blue glasses, cardboard glasses.
Yeah, and it's like it was really cool that the stuff was in 3D. It really wasn't 3D, but your head hurts so bad after watching it from seeing everything in red and blue for like, you know, an hour and a half. And so it was insane. You know, we bought a 3D TV when they first came out. I got the plasma one that's in here in our bedroom now. And it had the powered glasses instead of just the standard glasses like the ones you get at the movie theaters.
Yeah.
It was insane. Like when you would turn it on, it actually had the shutter in it, so it would actually match the frame rate of the movie.
Oh, wow.
And like it was insane. It was like you could bring your hand up and almost touch the stuff that was in your face. And then we got one of the ones it's in here now. It broke. One of the strips went out, and of course it's a Panasonic. And Panasonic is no longer selling in America. They moved back to Japan. And that's why you don't see Panasonic anything anymore, is because they no longer sell in the U.S.
Oh, wow.
So,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's been 4 years ago, I think they backed out, because that was about the time that this TV, that strip went out. And the funniest thing is it has LG parts in it and some Samsung parts in it. So I tore the whole thing down, and the one piece that I need is a Model E, and all you can buy from Panasonic in Japan is A. And the E you can buy on eBay, but I'm not going to spend $250 for this part and then put it in like a week later it burn out. So yeah, now we don't have a 3D TV anymore, which is a bummer because this one does, but I'm not going to buy a bunch of CR2032 batteries because it takes a lot of them.
Yeah.
But man, that was so cool though, going and seeing Avatar. I know everybody hates on the movie. I really enjoyed it. Just the whole concept of 3D is awesome. And then the game came out in 3D too. That was pretty sweet.
Oh, I never played the game.
Yeah, it was for PlayStation 3, and if you had a 3D TV, you could actually put it in 3D mode. It was very weird.
Wow.
You couldn't play it for very long because it gave you a super severe headache. Until I changed some of the settings in it and dropped the refresh rate down a little bit. It made it a little more tolerable. But the movements in it are so real when you're playing and you're shooting. The shells come out of the screen at you. Like, because it was a third-person top-down view, so like when you'd shoot, the shells would come up out, and it was really cool. It's just the refresh rate was too high on it, and so like everything was super fast movements, and it's just like, oh my god, I'm gonna throw up. But now we've got VR too. That's the other really cool thing. Have you ever messed around with VR at all?
I have not yet. No.
I did. I pulled the trigger like 3 years ago and bought a PlayStation VR headset, and it's insanity, man. Makes you want to hurl too. Maybe these young kids. I can only play it for like a half an hour. There are some really cool stuff. It's like Rock'em Sock'em robots. You like fight these robots and stuff. Cool. Yeah, it was really cool. The kids love playing. There's like a Ghostbuster thing where the person wearing the VR headset has a gun and a flashlight, and you have to shine the flashlight around, but only the people that are watching the TV can see the ghosts when you shine the light on.
Oh,
Isn't
that would be
that
neat.
is that not
Yeah.
cool? Like they really made some really cool stuff for it because I mean, like
Wow.
you said, you shine the flashlight around, they're like right there, so you got to hurry up and shoot because the ghosts moving around.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like real life Ghostbusters, you know.
Oh, that'd be cool. Yeah, I'm getting too old for that stuff now.
I know, me too, man. I'm like Roderick's like, Dad, I want to get this, and I'm like, man, we don't have the money for that, and I don't have time for that stuff anymore. Like I used to play games like incessantly. It was insane. I
Yeah.
would spend probably till 12:30 at night. I'd be like, oh, like just 10 more minutes, and I'd look up and it'd be 1:15 in the morning. I'm
Mhm.
like, all right, I gotta go to bed. But now that I'm old and broken and partially disabled, I'm like, it's 9:30. Playing a game sounds like a lot of fun, but so does getting some sleep. So I'm gonna turn in for the night. This
Yeah,
then
I got
turns
to
into
turn on the
delaying.
game system. Oh, that sounds like too much of a drag.
I know, right? Well, and the worst, this is the funniest part, and I know you'll find this amusing. So, like, we're old school. We like physical copies. We don't like digital. We like
Yeah.
physical copies. I want the disc. I don't want you ever to be able to take this game away from me. Like some of the games that you buy digitally, they've shut down the servers and they don't work anymore. But like, I want a physical disc so I can not be connected to the internet and I can install this game and play it as much as I want.
Yeah.
And then it's like then you go to like play a game and you're like, oh man, Far Cry 6 is in there. I want to play Tiny Tina's Wonderland. And I gotta get up and get the disc out. Damn it, I should have bought digital.
Yeah.
I'm such a hypocrite. Like I don't want to buy digital because you can take it from me, but I would rather buy it because I don't have to get up to switch discs.
Right.
So
Right.
that's what I
Right.
got kids for now. I'm like, hey Roger, go, disc's gonna come out, handle it gently, and then find this game here and put that one in for me. I'm just kidding. Yeah, I do that. I won't lie.
Mm. I'll tell you what. When PlayStation 2 came out, the first day it came out, I spent the night in Best Buy's parking lot to get that sucker.
Dude, kids will never know what it was like for like movies, video games, systems, what it was like to have to camp out at a store to make sure you got it.
Yeah.
Like I remember like when the Fast and the Furious came out. Like I was at Walmart at midnight waiting for them to break the shrink wrap. I was in college. And I was like, come on, man, break that shrink wrap. I got to get my copy. I want to go home and watch it. Because, back then they didn't have all this digital bull crap where
Right. Right.
it's not out on DVD yet, but you can get it on demand for $14.99. You can rent it for 2 days. And it's like, what? This is highway robbery. You can get it on Blu-ray for like $19 and watch it as much as you want. But they will never understand what it's like when a movie released at midnight. You hadn't seen it for like a year because it took them forever to print all the copies and actually get it in store. And
Oh
then
yeah.
just to get that fresh copy in your hands and feel like you accomplished something, or to camp outside of Best Buy for a game release. Now you can download the entire game, and then on release day, you get a key that just unlocks the game and allows you to play
Right.
it after you
Yeah.
download this 17 gig update that's already out a minute after it launches. Because folks, let me tell you something. They don't finish games anymore. They get them 3/4 of the way done. They print the discs, and while the discs are being printed so they can hurry up and get it on store shelves, they're finishing the game. So if you ever wonder why when you buy a game on release day, we didn't have to deal with that. See, we got the complete game. We felt accomplished. We went home with our NES cartridge and we popped it in. It didn't work. We had to lift it up and down 6 or 7 times to get it to make contact. Those are the days, man. I still got my regular Nintendo. It just sucks.
I wished we did now. Mine's been gone for years, but yeah.
Yeah, it's
Those
really
are,
janky. I had to take all the screws. Yeah, I had to take all the screws and take the top of it off just to get the games to work because you have to like stick it in and then push it all the way over to one side or it won't work. I guess one of the guides got wore down on the lid, and it sucks because I have Duck Hunt and I have the gun, but you can't play it because of the LED TVs. It works off the CRT TVs.
Yeah.
And so I have a CRT TV left, but I don't have anywhere to put it, so it's out in the shed. And like one of these days, I'm gonna carry that 600-pound TV in here, just so I can play Duck Hunt. Now you can get like a 70-inch TV and it weighs like 15 pounds, and you're like,
I
oh
was
God.
I was so happy. The first TV I bought on my own was a 36-inch Sony. That thing had to weigh 500 pounds.
Yeah.
Filled up the back of my SUV. Me, my brother, and my buddy, we went to Circuit City to buy it. You know, we get out. Well, one of
That
these
date's Circuit City. What's
around it
that?
now. Circuit City. So my buddy had to wrap himself around the box as it took up the entire back of the SUV. Now, I'll tell you what, that thing did last for a long time. But,
every time you moved, you're like, I hate this TV.
Yeah. I paid more for that than the 65-inch LCD I had.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. Hey, Matt.
Hey, Matt.
Matt is he was one of my first backers on issue 1.
He's
been a backer every issue since then, but more than that, we've become friends. I mean, we talk all the time. He hunts toys for me. I hunt toys for him.
Is he? And that's what it's all about. It's about making.
Yeah, he's in the area too, which is great. So we can meet up sometimes and trade stuff.
That's cool. That's the best part about this is, you know, the relationships that we form, you know, like me finding out about your book through Brian, and then who would know that, you know, a little over a year later, I would go to Heroes for Kids Comic-Con and I'd be like, who am I seated next to? I'm like, oh, Zombieful World of OZ, is that Eric? I'm like, hey man, what's going on? It's nice to meet you, you know, and then to meet Brian and Michaela and Kathy and just everybody in the community. It's really cool. And that's what it's all about. It's not about making money. It's about our escapism and writing stories to give other people escapism, to read our stories, and then to have these conversations and make friends and have people that are just like so into your story. They've got a million questions and, you know, they give you ideas because you're like, well, I never really thought about that. I was just like, this is just a throwaway character. But people are really interested. Maybe I should do an arc about this character. So it's just so much fun having that interaction. It's not about making money. It's about making stories. And with that being said, I want you to give us your elevator pitch. What is the Zombieful World of Oz all about?
Well, the Zombieful World of Oz is basically about Dorothy, grown up now. She spent the last 10 years in an insane asylum. She's been reconditioned and trained to believe there was no such thing as Oz because her family thought she was crazy. That's why they stuck her in there. So she gets out. She doesn't believe in Oz anymore. And if you'd like to see the short story of her in the insane asylum, it's in issue 2 or in the trade paperback of my current campaign. 4 pages. Written by Brian K. Morris, drawn by me, the little backup story. But she gets out of the insane asylum, starts working at a basket shop in town, and then that's when the zombies from Oz come to find her and take her back to Oz because they need her. But before that can happen, the Tin Man Scarecrow and Cowardly Lion show up to rescue her in Kansas and take her back to Oz. And that's where the story begins. And it really just begins there because that ends the first issue, her returning to Oz. Then after that, it just keeps going.
And it's really cool, folks. He's got a lot of really awesome stuff on there right now. You guys can get the hardback trade, and you can also get the hardback trade with a drawing inside done by him, as well as the 3D figure that he showed off just a little bit ago.
Yeah, and you know, I almost printed. I was only going to offer 10 of those, and I was like, "Well, I better get them printed up." Only one's been bought, so I'm only glad I printed 2 of those.
So there you go, folks.
Well,
there's 9 more available. Make Eric have to print and do some painting.
I have printed many more than just 2, but 2 of the final design. There's plenty of test prints to get to where it needed to be. Yeah.
So, if you don't mind me asking, what kind of 3D printer did you get? Is it an Anycubic?
No, I got the Elegoo resin. So it prints the resin. It's not the FDM.
The spool.
Filament. So it's So it's the Elegoo Mars Pro, Elegoo Mars 2 Pro. And Matt got a test print. Yes.
See, I've been wanting to do. Get a 3D printer. My nephew is trying to convince me that he'll go in on half because he wants me to print the Horizon Zero Dawn machines as chess pieces for him.
Oh.
Because he's really into chess now. I really want to do more of this guy because I think this turned out awesome. And so I want to get my own 3D printer and mess around with it if I can get it out. I sold this one on the Kickstarter. But
nice.
So this is a 9-inch figure of Raziel. Of course, it's off of the art behind me.
Mhm.
But I thought it would be a cool idea to like hollow out his hand and print different weapons to put in his hand
Oh, that'd be
right
cool.
here. So like have an axe and stuff like that. So I really want to get one, and I just I don't know anybody that has one that can give me like, hey, this works really good. I have no problems, and hey,
Well,
this is user friendly.
this is going to be really washed out, but so this one is about almost 6 inches tall. It's a Moon Knight. That's about as tall as I can get on my resin printer.
Okay. Well, I mean that's big enough.
Yeah, but it's also been great for making weapons for my GI Joes. So Snake Eyes here has a little vector I printed myself for him.
Vector Chris
Yep.
45. Oh yeah, man, that's my gun of choice. That is my favorite weapon, man. There's nothing that will stand up like a 45 ACP. Well, it's available in the 9mm too, but who would buy that? You want the 45 ACP. You gotta have that stopping power. It's not about the rounds, people. It's about the stopping power. Because I
Yeah,
mean, when the zombies invade Oz, you're gonna need the 45 ACP. All right, because them zombie killing bullets right there.
yeah. Oh, there's been well, shoot, I printed a lot of this stuff here. I mean, I even printed this a little Hellboy statue.
Hellboy, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, no, the trouble is sculpting stuff myself. I'm not real familiar with everything on it yet, but yeah, and they're not as expensive as they used to be. I mean, like
Oh
you
yeah,
get a resin one for 200 or less sometimes, and the other one too. And what was that
yeah, and
Matt said?
he said, speaking of meeting via comics, I came across Eric Kickstarter through Billy Tucci's show in YouTube. I was watching Eric on his show, and he mentioned he was across the river.
Yeah, I was on Billy Tucci's show of She fame. Hello, Hawking the first issue. So that's a couple of years ago now. And Billy Tucci's told me, he said he liked it so much he was mad at me that he didn't think of it.
That's great. That's hilarious. That's really cool. But guys, definitely please check out his Kickstarter. You heard his elevator pitch. Sorry guys, I'm a little slow. I had some stuff happen a couple weeks ago, and so my brain's not wired properly right now, which is one of the reasons why I've been simmering down on shows, because I turn into a babbling idiot and can't think of the words that I'm trying to say, which is very frustrating and embarrassing. And everybody tells me, don't get embarrassed about it because we know how you normally are, but it's still really embarrassing. And so it drives me nuts because sometimes it takes me like 15 seconds to think of a word, and I'm just sitting here and it's like, did he freeze up? I'm like, no, I didn't freeze up. My brain froze up.
Yeah, it happens to
Anyway,
me all the time too. Me, it's just age though.
yeah, well, I'm wondering if some of that is part of that, but it's gotten better since 2 weeks ago, so I'm feeling better about that. But you guys heard his elevator pitch. Please go check out the Kickstarter. I threw the link in there on Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube, so you guys can go check out that project. There's 12 days left on it. It is fully funded. You can get the 3D printed character. You can get the hardback trade copy, and you can get it with a drawing inside, which is absolutely awesome. Definitely chose that because I want some of that original Eric Hawkins art. And
Or you could just get the PDF if you don't like digital copies or physical copies. We have the PDFs. We have issue 4 just by itself, and we got variant covers. Yeah, well, just all kinds of stuff.
Catch up tiers.
Yeah. Stuff to build your own package.
Stuff to build your own package. Exactly. He said package, first of all. Anyway, so, and also, folks, for those of you just now joining us, you can join us this summer. I will look up the date right now because we didn't know earlier and I had no clue. Good luck trying to get me to remember that. But we will be at Heroes for Kids Comic-Con in Perryville, and it will be on, I got it pulled up right here, waiting for it to load. July 16th, 2022, Heroes for Kids Comic-Con. There's the address, 800 City Park Lane in Perryville, Missouri. So if you live in the bi-state area, or you live close by, or you just want to take a trip and come hang out with us awesome folks, you can come get some original art from Eric. You can get attacked by my kids, and so much more. And have fun. It was a great show last year. I had a lot of fun. I couldn't have been sat next to another a better person. We really hit it off, and we had some fun. So come check it out, please. Please go check out the Kickstarter and pick you up a copy. And that is all. if you want to, I'll give you the full screen real quick. You can tell people where they can find you, and you can give your elevator pitch one last time because we had a couple people join on in.
Oh, sure. Yeah. So, Zombieful World of Oz, we are in issue 4 on Kickstarter. It funded in 17 minutes. We still have 10, 11 days left. It's fully funded. It'll be shipping in July or by the end of July, basically. Grown up Dorothy, she's been in an insane asylum for 10 years. She doesn't believe in Oz anymore, and that's when Oz comes and knocking on her door in the form of zombies, take her back to Oz. Heroes you would know, Tin Man, Lion, and Scarecrow come to rescue her from the zombies and take her back to Oz, and that's where the first issue kicked off. And first 3 issues was the first story arc. After that, we've started a new story arc in issue 4, but you can get caught up on the Kickstarter campaign, or, like I said before, you can just get the digital copies. I mean, get caught up real quick. But you can find me on any social media, Twitter, _Hawkins, Instagram, ehawkins1971, or you can just find me on Facebook. Just look up Eric Hawkins or Zombieful World of Oz, and you will find me. Thank you. Been fun.
Yeah, thanks a lot for joining. I'm gonna kick you back to the. Whoops, I hit the wrong button. I'm fired. See, I haven't been on here for a while. I'm a little rusty. All right, I would lie and say they moved the buttons around, but it's me, folks. It's all me. So I'm gonna kick you to the back room,
Sure.
real quick, and if you want to hang out for just a sec, I'll be right back.
Nice.
All right, guys, thanks so much for coming and checking out the show. Please check out Eric Hawkins' project, Zombieful World of Oz, #4. On Kickstarter right now. I just threw the link up in there for the comments for you again. You can check out the digital tier. He has the trade paperback and a hardcover. He's got the single issues. He's got whatever you want. You can build your tier, get what you want, do the add-ons. There's all kinds of cool stuff available. So please definitely check it out. Share it with your friends. Share it with the people that you think might like it. I mean, there's all kinds of Zombie lovers out there. Yes, I said Zombie because it makes Tiffaney mad. I hope she's watching right now. But anyway, and also, I want to thank Eric also for donating the piece. It is up on CatCat and Piggygirl right now. If you guys go through that campaign and you see that alligator Loki, Eric was nice enough to donate that to me last year at Heroes for Kids Comic-Con, and I can't believe it hasn't sold yet. So you guys definitely need to pick it up and support a great guy. The piece is amazing. It's going towards a good cause, just like Heroes for Kid Comic-Con is. It's all for the kids and printing books to send them. So guys, check out his project. Give it some love, and I thank you for coming and hanging out with us. I'm going to probably do a pop-up show in the next week, and I will be live tomorrow with Amanda Gilliam. Unfortunately, my surgery was canceled because the insurance won't cover it, so I won't be getting the back procedure done just yet. So hopefully I'll have more news on that. So join me tomorrow night. Come hang out and chat with me and Amanda and I, and you guys have a great night. As always, this is Russ Explode Studios with projects that will blow your mind. You guys have a great night and a great rest of your week. I hope to see you tomorrow.